Hello children, welcome back to one another video lesson in English from your supplementary reader textbook. We shall learn the sixth lesson, The Fight, written by the Indian writer Ruskin Bond. It's a tale about two young boys who fight in the beginning regarding the ownership of a pool in the forest. Once they get tired and exhausted, they decide to continue the fight the next day. But the following day, both of them somehow end up becoming great friends. Now they are willing to help each other in learning the art of swimming. And it's the gist of the story. Let us go to the first paragraph. Here we will see the central character, our hero, Renji. And it has been telling that Renji had been less than a month in Rajpur, and there he discovered a pool in the forest. And in this paragraph, certain new words are there. Wandered, that means to walk aimlessly. Interminably, that means endlessly, having no end. Parched means hot and dry area. Renji hadn't made any new friends in the new place Rajpur, and he used to roam around alone in the hills and the forest that extended endlessly. It was extremely hot there because it was the summer season. As he walked on the ground, his feet turned white with the chalky dust there. Second para. It was on such a day, a hot, tired day, that Renji found the pool in the forest. The water had a gentle translucency, and you could see the smooth round pebbles at the bottom of the pool. A small stream emerged from a cluster of rocks to feed the pool. Here, translucency means clarity. The water was very clear. Emerged, that means to move out. Cluster means group. Gushing meaning exaggerately enthusiastic, in a violent way moving out. Torrent means rushing water. Cascading also means like a waterfall, water coming like a waterfall. Here it tells that on such a very hot day, Renji discovered the pool in the forest. The water was so clear and it emerged from a cluster or a group of pebbles. The pool got its water from a small stream which was coming up, up from the rocks. In the monsoon season, the same stream of water used to become unstoppable and it will move like a waterfall. Next paragraph. The rocks, however, held the water in the pool and it did not dry up like the pools in the plains. When Renji saw the pool, he did not hesitate to get into it. He had often gone swimming alone or with friends. Here it tells that despite the reduced flow of water in the stream in summer season, the rocks didn't let the pool dry up. Renji knew how to swim because he used to go swimming with his friends or sometimes alone. It was a thirsty town in the center of Rajputana desert. Back there, he had only seen sticky pools that were filled with mud. Buffaloes used to roll themselves in it wherever seen. It was the first time that Renji had seen a pool so clean and cool and attractive. So he jumped into the water. He was loose limbed and flexible there. He didn't have any extra fat on his body, and so he swam in the pool very enthusiastically and in a very attractive manner. Next paragraph it tells that the next day he came again to quench his body in the cool waters of the forest pool. He was there for almost an hour, sliding in and out of the limpid water or lying stretched out on the smooth yellow rocks in the shade of broad-leaved sal trees. Here it tells that Renji the next day also visited the pool. He swam there for almost an hour. He moved very smoothly in and out of the clean green water there. After that, he was relaxing on the rock. His attention was caught by a boy standing at some distance as his gaze was fixed upon. Renji, in an unfriendly manner, looked at that boy. That boy seemed a little older than Renji. He had quite a solid body and he had a wide nose and bulky, that means big red lips. That boy, the other boy, had also seen Renji. The other boy spoke up. He asked Renji what he was doing there. Renji, on the other hand, was expecting to make a new friend, but he was quite surprised by the bitterness or the violent look of the other boy. Renji replied that he was swimming. The other boy further extended an offer to join him, but the other boy rudely told Renji that he always swam alone in the pool and he claimed that pool belongs to him. That boy told Renji that he had come there uninvited. And in the next paragraph, it tells that the stranger strode up to Renji, who still sat on the rock and planting his broad feet firmly on the sand. Don't you know I am a warrior? I don't take replies from villagers like you. So you like to fight with villagers? Said Renji. Here, the stranger boy or the newcomer there, he introduced himself or he said himself as a warrior. And he is telling that I don't allow villagers to be here. And he denoted Renji as a villager. Here, the explanation or the we can understand like that the strange boy came towards Renji, who was resting on a rock. After coming near to Renji, the other boy or that strange boy, he tells that pond or that pool belongs to him. He said himself as a warrior and he is telling that he will not allow the villagers or the newcomers to join in that pool with him. He wants to swim in that pool alone. In response to his unfriendly and rude remark, Renji asked him if he liked fighting with villagers. He also clarified that he is not a villager but a fighter instead. Here, Renji became a little bit courageous and he is telling himself as a fighter. But the stranger boy again tells that if you are the fighter, I am a warrior. And they both found themselves at no conclusion and they have decided to have a fight. They continued making it clear to each other that one was a fighter and the other was a warrior. They were left with nothing much to say. Then the stranger boy kept on repeating that he was a warrior, as if he had not already made it clear enough for Renji. Renji again replied that he has heard him say that thrice. Again, the stranger asked him why he is not running away. For this, Renji responded that he had been waiting for him to run away instead. Then their sounds became aggressive. They had an aggressive tone. The stranger boy showed Renji the palm of his hands and told Renji that he will have to beat him up. Renji did not step back and told him that he was waiting for that moment. The stranger boy warned him that he would rather see him do it. In the next paragraph, two certain new vocabularies are there. Here, muster. Here, muster means to collect or to gather. Staggered, that means to feel weak or the movements are unsteady. Staggered. Dizzy, that means a sensation of spinning around one's balance. Assailant means the person who attacks. Here, assailant refers to the enemy. That means that stranger boy. Then about the appearance, one word is there, bony. Bony means so thin. Here, Renji held back and waited for the other boy to act. Then the stranger made a weird hissing sound. Both of them looked into each other's eyes for nearly a minute. The warrior initiated the fight by summoning all his strength, and he slapped Renji on his face. Feeling unsteady, Renji almost lost his balance. As a result of the slap, thick red finger marks formed on poor Renji's cheeks. The stranger boy asked Renji if he would leave now. As a reply, Renji raised his arm to punch him in the face with his strong, bony fist. Next paragraph. And then they were at each other's throats. Here, at each other's throats means they continued fighting by holding each other's throat or neck. One another new vocabulary is there. Swaying, that means to move from side to side. Tumbling means to fall. Gasping, that means to catch one's breath with mouth openly wide. Here, the next moment, as we all know, both the warrior and the fighter, the stranger boy and Renji, fight very ferociously. They kept swinging on the rock. Their arms and legs were locked against each other in a very desperate way. They started to wrestle very violently. Both of them were breathing heavily, and they started to utter very bad, offensive words. They started to scratch, slap each other till they landed themselves into the shallow depths of the pool. Once they landed themselves into the pool, the fight didn't stop. The fight continued by throwing mud at each other, so much that they both ended up getting themselves covered in mud. They held each other's head and throat. After 5 minutes of violent and illogical, ferocious wrestling, none of them won. There was no winner. However, they were breathing heavily and they both became very much exhausted. They looked their hands off each other and made a lot of efforts to speak because they were breathing very heavily now. While they were on a break, as they breathed heavily, the stranger asked Renji if he agreed that he was a warrior. Renji asked the stranger if he had made it clear to him that he was a fighter. Here, both of them are trying to prove their point or prove their argument that one is a warrior and the other one is a fighter. Both of them took a moment to think upon what both of them had been saying, and during that moment, there was a lot of heavy breathing and speeding heartbeats. The stranger, that means the warrior, asked if the fighter or Renji would give up the pool to him. The fighter said he would not give. The warrior believed that they still needed to fight to be able to come to a conclusion. The fighter, that means that Renji, also agreed, but none of them took any action. They stood in their respective places. The next paragraph tells that at that moment, the warrior got an idea that they should resume fighting tomorrow, the next day. He further warned Renji. He gave a caution to Renji that if he dared to come to the pool again the next day, they would have to fight again and he would not show any sympathy as he did that day. For this, Renji replied that he would see him the next day. All prepared to fight, he will come. They turned away from each other and went to the rocks to wear their clothes, and they both went out of the forest into their respective directions. So children, let us conclude today's class here, and in the next video class we will study who won the fight, whether it is Renchi the fighter or the warrior, that means the stranger boy, who wins, that we can see in the next class. I hope you all enjoyed the class and understood the portions. Okay, thank you all.